Hello, my fellow Americans. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. Oh, there's so much to talk about. You know, this thing about the NFL and the players taking a knee or sitting down during the anthem, people just don't get it. You know, if you've been watching my videos, I've been saying, you know, this whole thing about race in this country, it's the same stuff, different decade. You know, people saying, oh, it's not this, you know, they shouldn't do this. But what's lost is two things. Number one, part of the problem is white people telling black people what they should and shouldn't do. That's just basic. You see, because they go, oh, well, you're not doing this right. You know, see, that's the problem right there. People just don't seem to get that. Now, I will admit that in many cases, black people are their own worst enemy. I mean, some of the stuff they do and say is just ridiculous. They're a disgrace to the race. That's old school. That's what we used to say growing up. Man, you're a disgrace to your race. But that being said, you know, remember the Olympics? When the guys got up on the stand, they raised the black glove. They lose their medals over that. You see, this is the kind of stuff that we've been putting up for decades. It's just, and people don't understand. They're flipping the script. The message is, hey, why should I stand up and salute a flag and pledge allegiance to a flag that stomps me in the ground? You know, now people are saying stuff like, well, you know, back before Obama and blah, blah. It's just like things were getting better. Let me tell you something. Unless you're this color, you don't know. Don't tell me things got better. I mean, people are telling me, oh, well, you know, now it's all set up for, you know, minorities. They get ahead of the white guys, and the white guys come in last. You see, that's all part of the matrix. That's all part of propaganda. That's to keep people fighting amongst themselves while the puppet masters control the show. And so, and the bottom line is that anytime the issue of race, when it comes to African Americans, comes up, the subject's always changed. You know, the Black Lives Matter. Oh no, all lives matter. Blue lives matter. You know, it's not right to say Black Lives Matter. Well, that's like telling the Susan B. Coren people it's not right to talk about breast cancer. What about prostate cancer? You know, I've already made that argument before. I'm repeating myself. But it's just that people just don't seem to get it. You know, they're saying this isn't the venue. Well, the thing is, how else are you going to make your cause known unless you can get on, you know, national TV and make a statement? And that's what they're doing. They're making a statement. They're saying, hey, you know, it's time for this stuff to stop. It's the same stuff, different decade. Isn't it time? We're in the 21st century. It's like, come on. And this stuff still goes on, you know. And, you know, okay, they're toppling these monuments. You know, they want to pull down the Confederate flag. You see, personally, that's not the reason why they should come down. They should have never been put up in the first place. For the simple reason, in history, you got a war, one side versus the other. This side wins. You have to stamp out all symbols of the defeated because you don't want the defeated to rise again. And what's the South like to say? The South will rise again. What does that mean? What, they're going to have slavery again? You know, I realize they're saying it's over states' rights. Yeah, the rights to own people, the rights to have slaves. But this is lost. You don't allow the losers to fly their flags and build their statues. It should have never happened in the first place. And that's why those things should come down. Not because of really what they represent in the sense that, you know, When one person sees that flag, it's a sense of pride. The other one sees it as, you know, as a symbol of oppression. See, the flag is just a rag. I've done that video, I don't know, years ago. It's a symbol, it's an icon. And those symbols evoke emotionals, feelings, okay? They evoke, you know, symbolize beliefs. And that's what it's all about. Because I ask people, why are you flying out here in Oregon? Why are you flying a Confederate flag? What are you telling the world? What message are you communicating? What? I mean, really, what message are you communicating when you fly that Confederate flag? I mean, don't you realize what that means to some people? And that just seems to be oh yeah, you've got the right to fly it. I'm not saying you can't. First Amendment. You know, the thing about the First Amendment is, if I don't like what you say, if I believe in the First Amendment, then I'm going to defend your right to say it to the death. Even though I don't like what you're saying. See, that's what the First Amendment really means. It's not to defend the speech that you like, it's to defend the right of the person speaking the speech that you don't like. That's lost. You know, all this hate speech crap. You know, these snowflakes getting offended by every little thing. And then Facebook, and I guess Google, and a few others are now being the thought police. You know, it's one thing to take down a terrorist organization. It's another thing to restrict views just because you have a different ideology. It's just, the world's crazy. That's why I'm glad I live up here. You know? I mean, look. You know, see, I live up here. I can stay up here by my lonesome, okay? I don't have to deal with that mess out there, but not everybody has that luxury. It's just unbelievable. And, you know, the whole thing about being disrespectful, it's not being disrespectful when the person or system or organization or country that you're disrespecting disrespects you in the first place. I mean, think about it. The Constitution had to be amended. You know, I wasn't even human in the original Constitution. You know, women had no rights. Minorities had no rights. It's just that simple. So, you know, I have to once again thank my friend Trace Jordan back in, I believe it was 7th grade or maybe 9th grade, junior high school, when he didn't stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance in homeroom. I've told this story before, but it's worth repeating. He got sent to the principal's office. Well, he lived in the neighborhood next to mine, so on the way home I caught up to him and said, "Hey, Trace, how come you're not standing up in homeroom?" He looked at me and goes, you know, "Why are you standing up in homeroom after the way this country's treated your people?" It hit home. Ever since then, you know, that was me getting unplugged from the Matrix before we even knew about the Matrix. I had to thank him. I hooked up with him on Facebook. We don't agree on everything, but the thing is, you know, he was in tune back in junior high. He was a hippie dude, you know, had his jeans and jean jacket, had the American flag on, upside down. I think he had a marijuana patch on it too. But, you know, see, the thing is, I got to know him person to person. I didn't let how he looked and how he dressed affect me. No, I wanted to know what he was thinking. And you see, that's what needs to happen. Rather than just judging people and just, you know, trying to defend your point of view, go, no, no. Ask them, where are they coming from? That's called communication. Listen for understanding. Don't listen and while this person's talking, already start forming your attack, your counterpunch in your brain. No, turn all that off. Just turn all that off, listen to what they say, ask them questions, try to understand. Because you see, you might realize that they have something to say, something you don't know. But the way it is now, battle lines are drawn, communications ceased, and it's just a bunch of, all that crap that goes back and forth on Facebook. It's just that simple. So, part of the solution is just to ask people questions. Get them to explain themselves. Let them talk themselves out. You might even learn something. And if after all that's said and done, then maybe they might ask you a question. Then what do you have? You have a dialogue. Then maybe you can figure out some common ground, and then maybe you could come up with some action items and work towards the results and solutions that benefit all. But that's not what happens. I mean, look at Congress. Oh, we'll never do this, or we'll never, Democrats, oh no, we're never going to be for the wall. Well, why not? Tell me, what is it about having the wall that's just so distasteful? Just tell me. Oh, you think it costs too much? Okay, well, what's your other concerns? And let's just list them out. It's just so silly. And like, wait a minute, what's the point of having these IDs that you got to show ID for everything except something really important like voting? You say it's a restriction. I think in the 21st century, most people who are born here have documentation to show that they were born here. I could be wrong, but I do believe it's got to be in the high 90s. Like I said, I could be wrong. But, unless you find somebody that's probably over 100 years old somewhere in the deep south where their birth was recorded in a Bible, and I don't think there are too many of those people left. Once again, I could be wrong. It's just ridiculous. But until there's meaningful dialogue, some questions, listening for understanding, we're just going to have the mess we have. And the thing is, the reason we have the mess we have is because that's the way they want it. Those in control, the puppet masters, the powers that tax, want to keep it that way. They don't want you and I, if we're, having a decent conversation and finding common ground. They want us to fight Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals, black, white, Americans, illegals. They just want to keep the fight going. But, hey, I'm all for it. Build the wall, deport them all. I mean, if there's a bunch of people come up here on my property, they're going to get introduced to Mr. Remington real quick. No, this is mine. This is our country. Let's put up a fence, no trespassing. You come here, you better come here legally. Some of this stuff is just so simple, so common sense. But what they do in many, many cases is they do the label and dismiss. Oh, you're a racist. Oh, he's a racist? Oh, I'm not going to listen to anything he has to say. Labeling cuts off dialogue. So just cut it out. Quit calling names. Listen. Ask questions. It's that simple. My fellow Americans, wake up and smell the tyranny.